That's right. Welcome back to The Independence, where every week is Super Bowl week, with millions of Americans incarcerated and millions more seeking out new liberties every week. The war on drugs, namely marijuana, has put smart people at odds with their government. The president has been squishier than a garden slug on the drug war, and we're still losing. It is the other war. Kevin Sabet is the director of Smart Approaches to Marijuana. He's also the co-author of Reefer Sanity, 7 Great Myths About Marijuana. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Kennedy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Well, the president says marijuana is safer than alcohol. The public agrees, but the head of the DEA does not. Whose side are you on?
It's actually a lot more complicated than any of the sides or headlines are putting it. Obviously, for certain things, alcohol is more dangerous than marijuana, like violence or obviously liver-related diseases, etc. For other things, no doubt marijuana wins. Alcohol is it was about 4 times as, for crashes for driving. Marijuana doubles your risk of a car crash. They're both not good choices. Marijuana is worse than alcohol when it comes to lung issues, IQ, mental illness. It just really depends on the actual domain of harm you're looking at. But this is one of thousands of things, I think, in the drug debate that gets obscured because people want quick headlines, they want quick answers, they want a bumper sticker solution, whether it's lock them up or legalize. And this is a nuanced debate. Drug policy is difficult. It's not conducive to these sort of one-liner headlines.
Kevin, you referenced alcohol and sort of the difference between the two. Alcohol has never really seriously been considered for a Scheduled I drug being classified as such under the Controlled Substances Act, which means that it's highly toxic, it's dangerous, it's addictive. There's no possible medical use, even with a doctor. Would you be in favor of classifying marijuana differently than the Controlled I classification?
Well, differently maybe, but to what classification? Because remember, people are so obsessed with the scheduling classification issue. It is true that marijuana and heroin share the same classification, but they share vastly different legal consequence profiles. So heroin, obviously, use and dealing is much more severe than marijuana. The scheduling system was, something in the early 70s, late 60s that Congress put together for the illegal drugs, not including alcohol, because it's not illegal, to classify them in terms of their level of addictiveness. It doesn't mean that heroin is as dangerous as, or is less dangerous than marijuana, or marijuana is more dangerous than cocaine or heroin. Whatever. I think people have kind of overlooked that. I think, though, what the heart of your question is, would I be in favor of, treating, for example, should we put marijuana users in prison? And I don't think that. And I really don't know who you can find these days that thinks that. The question is, though, just because we have an incarceration system we need to reform and some other issues, do we have to do that through legalization, or which I think would really start the next big tobacco, which is really the big issue here, is that we're going to start these big, massive corporations and industries that thrive off addiction.
Well, this is strange. I mean,
are there smarter ways to deal with it?
We already have a massive industry that actually strives off of addiction. So I don't know that we're actually avoiding that by making it illegal. The only thing that we actually get is
another one.
Well, the only thing that we get as a benefit to the current policy is all of the crime that's associated with this drug trade happening on a black market. We saw that with Prohibition. If you're concerned about alcohol being as dangerous as you've laid out, then why wouldn't we want to make that illegal as well? And if you're fine with people not being locked up who are using marijuana, then why wouldn't we make this legal?
Yeah. Because alcohol has a long, widespread history of regular use dating back 7,000 years. It's a very different profile than the widespread use of marijuana.
That's so weird. So marijuana just sprouted out of the ground in the last 200 years? So, Kevin,
no, I didn't say that, Kennedy. Hold on. No. Marijuana is thousands of years old. Wait. Marijuana is thousands of years old. I agree. I didn't say that. Don't distort what I'm saying.
It's also widely used, sir.
Marijuana has been widely used.
No, marijuana is used by 7% of Americans.
Okay, listen to this.
7%.
All right? You're talking about the deleterious effects of alcohol and the potential to kill people when it's used in concert with motor vehicles. What about the people in Mexico who are dying for a failed drug war because people in the United States are willing to pay a premium to get Mexican marijuana on the black market? Do you hate Mexicans?
Well, no, that's ridiculous. And I think that here's the issue. Mexican marijuana, are you kidding me? We grow much better marijuana in the U.S. So
How
no,
would you know?
the Mexico issue, well, hold on. Hey, I can't answer that. The Mexico question deals with, we're talking about cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, human trafficking, kidnapping, structural issues in Mexico. The idea that marijuana legalization is going to fix this endemic problems in
Let's
Mexico
give it a try.
is ridiculous.
Let's try
well,
it.
Why would
Let's
we do
go
that?
ahead and try it. Let's do a social experiment
But why would
and
we want
see
another
what effect it
tobacco
has.
industry?
How high a price are you
Kennedy,
willing to pay?
Why do we want a
to keep these drugs
gambling
illegal?
industry? Why do we want a prescription pill
We don't.
industry? There are plenty of things that I
We
can put in
shouldn't
my
have
body,
one.
like NyQuil. Should we make all those things
Well, the
illegal?
issue is
I can make 700 bad choices
a lot of
tonight.
those drugs are quasi-legal, but the point
CVS.
is we don't want another industry. Two wrongs don't make a right. Your headlight's broken. You don't say, to be consistent, I'm going to break my tail light.
You know
We have
what?
a tobacco and alcohol industry
Tobacco. That would be a great amalgamation.
That's good.
Yeah, no, but tobacco is way more addictive and devastating than marijuana. You
Of
know
course
it, and
it
I know
is.
it.
So what? It's
So-
true. You're
so
right, but
stop
that doesn't
lumping
mean
that in
we
the
want to
same
follow that
category.
example. Hold on, but Kennedy,
like
we're
saying
not.
my rope
We
fruit
don't
is
want to follow the
Velveeta.
same example. Hold
doesn't
on.
even
We
make
don't want to
sense.
follow the
That's
same
strange.
example
That's such a strange
because look at
argument.
what tobacco and alcohol's effects have been. Why do we want the policy effects of another tobacco industry to be that case with marijuana? Remember, though, tobacco is not intoxicating.
All right.
It does
Well,
not
if you don't
cause
want,
car
if you don't want,
crashes.
if you don't want
It
the
doesn't
policy
cause mental
effects, then stop regulating it and let there be a legal free market for marijuana. Kevin, thank you for coming in. I hope you come in person because there's a lot
We
more to
don't-
talk about. Just because we got testy
I'd love
doesn't
to. I'm
mean
a big
we.
fan of yours, Kennedy.
Well,
Thank
you're
you.
awesome, and you have very nice skin, and I appreciate you very much. And I mean that. And that's a compliment.
You're very kind. Made my day.
All right.
Thank you, Kennedy.
You're welcome. Well, like I said, politicians, they're not like us. What's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. Capitol Hill hypocrites are calling for federal minimum wage, but you won't believe what they're doing to their interns. Perverts.